C. Null MMA back after a long, super long, overly long break. I'd like to apologize for not posting any videos over the little Merry Christmas, Merry belated Christmas, the Christmas, New Year's time, the 6-week break that we had from the UFC. But I am back and I am here to stay, and I will promise y'all I will never have that long of a layoff again. I can promise you that. Just got busy with the holidays. There was no UFC. I had a bunch of video ideas. I just worked a lot. I was traveling a lot with family. Got to spend quality time with my family. It was an amazing Christmas. God bless you all. I hope you had an amazing Christmas. But with that being said, I am back, and it is Fight Week! UFC 324, kicking off the new year and the new UFC Paramount Plus TV rights deal. I almost stopped talking and almost looked retarded, but I didn't. So that's how we know we're back in full form. And what I got for you today, guys, is a video about what the UFC will look like in 2026 with this new Paramount Plus deal, how the streaming's going to look, how the fights are going to look, the pros, the cons, and also I'm going to give my take on what the UFC White House Card will look like and whether or not it may or may not be a disappointment, guys. But to start off, we're going to jump right into this video, and we're going to talk about the UFC in 2026 and how these fight cards are shaping up and how it correlates with this UFC Paramount Plus deal. Starting off with this weekend's card, we will have a UFC 324 picks, preview, and predictions video out later this week. But let's just run through this card real quick, okay? First 3 fights on, this is a good card. I know a lot of people are calling it stacked. It's a good card. I would not call it stacked, okay? Main event, it's a phenomenal fight. I could sit here and complain about the matchmaking maybe not being that fair. However, in the situation of the UFC lightweight division, how fights have panned out over the past year or two, and with Ilya being out with this nasty divorce between him and his soon-to-be ex-wife, disgusting lady, by the way, okay? We don't making up allegations like that. You're a hoe. You're a whore. Nevertheless, sick main event for the interim lightweight title. Paddy Pimblett, does he deserve it? Probably not. Is he a huge star and a fun fighter to watch? Abso-freaking-lutely. So we're hyped. He's fighting the human highlight, Justin Gaethje, who also doesn't deserve it at all. But he's a human highlight. This is a phenomenal matchup. We'll talk more about it later this week. But it's a good fight. Both maybe not that deserved. But what are you going to do? Run Oliveira Holloway? Both guys who have recently got KO'd by Ilia Topuria? And yeah, Arman probably does deserve to be on one side of this interim title fight. But as much as I've ragged on Dana the past year and since I've started this channel, he has a point. I mean, the dude, right before his fight with Dan Hooker, headbutts him. You cut either yourself or Dan Hooker the fights off. Imagine if that happened. He missed weight to fight Islam Makhachev, sat out for 17 months. I totally get him not being in that fight. I do. I may not prefer it necessarily, but nevertheless, this is where we're at, and I can understand it. So as much as people like to complain about this and about that matchup, I don't have a huge problem with it. It's a big fight. It's a big draw from both guys. It's a fun fight. It's going to be a banger. So I don't have problems with that. Co-main event, Sean O'Malley, Song Yadong. Now it is the co-main event after Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes is not happening after an injury by Kayla Harrison with her neck. Let's be honest. Is anybody not going to watch now that fight's not going to happen? I don't. If you say you're not watching because that fight's not happening, you're lying. Or you're a liberal. No, I'm just kidding. You're lying, though. You are lying. For women's, that is a big fight. For WMMA, that's a big fight. I'm kind of bummed that it's not happening now because it's probably going to be a while until we get it. Because I was interested in it and I wanted to watch it. But nevertheless, I'm still as hyped as I was After I figured out that fight's not happening, that's fine. So, and that's a non-title fight co-main event. That's a good co-main event right there. Sean O'Malley, Song Yadong is going to be a great fight. Waldo Cortez Acosta, Derek Lewis. Maybe not the highest level skill fighter. Two good blobs though at heavyweight. Feature bout, not bad at all. And this is when things start to get bad. We're going to skip over Natalia Silva and Rose Namajunas. All I'm going to say is about that is, why is that on the main card? When you have Umar Nurmagomedov and Davison Figueiredo on the prelims, you bump up Natalia Silva and Rose Namajunas. Yeah, I don't get the UFCs. Especially, like, I guess it's because nobody, like, they're not... You don't have to buy the pay-per-view anymore, even though overseas you do. I don't know, but that's just stupid. We're already doing dumb stuff. But then we have Arnold Allen, Gene Silva. Great fight. Umar Davison. Great fight. Umar's probably going to dominate. Little preview. Then, like, everyone's calling this stacked. You start to go down the prelims because a stacked card, while it is a very good main card and a great main event of the prelim, you start going down those prelims and it gets weak fast. They're good fights, don't get me wrong, but a stacked card, you have like, banger fights that are going to happen. So Teba Gautier is going to can crush Andre Puliev. That's just how it's going to happen. Nikita Krylov, Modestas Bukauskas. Decent, solid fight at light heavyweight. Nothing's going to blow your socks off, though. Alex Perez, Charles Johnson. Great flyweight fight. Probably going to be an entertaining fight. Michael Johnson, Alexander Hernandez. Probably will be an exciting fight. Good lightweight fight. Josh Hokett, he's kind of popular. He's kind of cringe. I kind of like him. Fighting that Denzel Freeman guy who had a horrible debut. Most boring fight ever. And then you just have kind of like two whatever fights. Adam Fugit, don't know how he's still in the UFC. Ricky Turcios should not be in the UFC. He's horrible. Did he win the Ultimate Fighter? I think he did. Cameron Smotherman, kind of a failed prospect at this point. Solid card. Looking at it, I give it a 7 to an 8, somewhere in there. That is a solid card. I was hoping more for the debut on Paramount, but that's a solid card. Okay? So we're starting off the year in the Paramount Plus deal with a solid, good card. I'm excited for it. Not complaining, but to call it stacked is a stretch, in my opinion. Let's look at the next pay-per-views they have booked out. We go back-to-back, UFC 325 in Sydney. Now, you could use the excuse. They're going back-to-back numbered events. It may be a little weaker. That's fine. If it's a little weaker, if it's a 7, like bare minimum, a numbered event should always at least be a 7. You can get away with a 6. This is like a 4 or a 5, man. Look at the prelims. I'm not even going to read off their names. I just want y'all to look at these prelims right here. Besides Quillian Salacude, who's going to crush Jamie Malarkey most likely, I mean, they still don't even know who Dustin Jacoby's going to fight on the main card. You have Junior Taffa, somehow still in the UFC. Cody Brundage. Ben Elliott, it'll be fun. But then they're wasting a lot of time on this road to UFC for some reason in Sydney, Australia. That's going to be most of the prelims. Nobody keeps up with that even loves the sport. Nobody really keeps up with that at all. Then you look at the main card. You have 3, they're good fights at the top. But the first mistake was making Volkanovski Diego Lopez. We've talked about this. Everybody knows this. It's a championship fight. It's Volk. It's Diego Lopez. Everybody loves both guys for the most part. But we just had that. Dan Hooker, Benoit Saint-Denis. Gonna be a good fight at lightweight. Is that a co-main event? That's a co-main event on a good card. A really good card. That's not really a co-main event though, man. Rafael Fiziev, Mauricio Rufy. How Rufy is getting a jump up the rankings after losing a dominant losing outcome to Benoit Saint-Denis, getting the chance at Rafael Fiziev. I don't know what to say about that. Fun fight. I'm excited to watch that, but again, matchmaking, it's pitiful. And it's going to tie into a point I'm about to make. And then it drops off immediately. Tai Tuivasa and Taliesin Teixeira on the main card. Maybe Tai Tuivasa, you put him on the main card. But Taliesin Teixeira, give me a break, man. And then you're having Dustin Jacoby. and you don't even know who he's going to fight. Okay? You don't even know who he's going to fight. Julian Salakud, put him on the main card. He's a future of Australian MMA. Okay? So we're already, match up the same problems we had before the new year, before this new crazy TV deal, $7.7 billion, as Dana keeps saying. And it's already a problem. Now let's jump to UFC 326. I can live with Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira for the BMF belt, which is a stupid gimmick, but I can live with that as a main event. But you better stack it underneath. Caio Borralho, Reiner de Reader. Phenomenal fight. Very excited to watch it. That's not a co-main event. Both guys coming off losses. There's no guarantee that that's a banger, a showstopper. Then it drops to Renato Moicano, coming off a loss. Love Money Moicano. Brian Ortega, who's on a losing streak, moving up to 155. Main card bout, sure. But you're already putting that as your feature fight. It immediately drops off in quality after that. Immediately. You have Gregory Rodriguez, Bruno Ferreira. That's going to be a banger. I can understand that being on the main card. But my point is, this is a weak card already. I don't think any more fights will be announced. And then you finish off the main card with Rob Font and Raul Rosas Jr. These aren't bad fights at all. I like these fights. That's pretty good matchmaking, RoboCop and Bruno Ferreira. But it's what are we doing? This is just a weak card. You have a decent main card. Good fights. Nothing that's going to blow your socks off. And Cody Garbrandt's is your featured prelim. And then look at the rest. I'm not even going to read off the names. Look at the rest. Look at the rest. That's all I'm going to say. And it's bad, guys. And that's going to tie into my point of I was skeptical of this Paramount Plus deal. I made a video a while back about it when they signed the deal. I made the point that I think card quality is going to either plummet or stay the same. And it's already looking like, and we'll talk about the White House later, that probably is playing a big factor into what they're doing on these numbered events. But the quality is nowhere near what it was 5 years ago, and it's so sad to see. Fight nights. They have some of these fight nights planned off. This is a pretty weak card. If you're a hardcore, there's some good fights in there that you'll like. Houston, great main event. Drops off in quality fast. UFC Mexico, solid 3 fights to end the night. Drops off in quality fast. We're still doing the Apex. These are both Apex cards. What are we doing? And then these, we're not getting the full card yet. UFC Seattle, amazing main event they announced, though. I like the Adesanya Piper matchup a lot. It's kind of weird, but I do like it. I like that fight. If you're going to do anything with Adesanya, those guys are already booked up more towards the top of the middleweight division. Give Piper a shot at him. And I think he has a good shot to chin Adesanya in that fight. But a lot of people were, Paramount Plus. We're going to get so much better UFC quality and better cards. No. If anything, it looks like it's getting worse. Maybe they'll bounce back after the White House card, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But man, I am already severely disappointed. Moving on to hit something else about the Paramount deal. Conor McGregor, this quote really, I'm 50-50 on Conor if he'll fight again, and the only chance he will is if he fights at the White House. Nevertheless, though, his quote, I'll read it. There's no more pay-per-view, whereas my contract was based on pay-per-view sales, as all the champions and big names are. The pay-per-view system is done. I'm due a new contract. So we're going into negotiations in February, and I'm very interested to see how that goes. I don't like that quote for Conor. It wouldn't shock me if he doesn't re-sign and he maybe has an MMA fight or two outside the UFC and he outsells them or matches it pretty dang close on his own. But what I wanted to talk about is this may be the one positive from this Paramount deal. I don't know how they're going to structure the contracts with no more pay-per-views. However, if they do something like self-promotability, social media following, that could bring a lot of new energy into the UFC. So this is a positive, and I'm trying to look at it as a positive. Could bring a lot of hype, a lot more self-promotion from these fighters. And I'm really hoping that's what happens. I'm really hoping guys, if they're incentivized to have personality, to promote themselves at these boring press conferences that we've had for the past year and a half. Like, it's just the most plain Jane things you'll ever see. Maybe we'll finally get some scrappy words said at the press conferences, some more intensity, more people standing up and wanting to scrap at the press conferences. And if you say you don't like that and that's stupid, you're stupid, okay? Everybody likes that. I'm a hardcore. I like that. Makes the fights better. Makes it more exciting. So, this could be a positive, but also, it could get to that weird thing where guys don't value the title as much, and they're looking to get that contract incentive with promotability without really working towards the title, and we continue to get weird random matchups like we're seeing already. But I just wanted to touch on that real quick, and to end my little Paramount Plus spiel, okay, I wanted to show y'all this real quick. UFC multicam. I don't know what that means, but if it's something like muting the commentary, watching it from that bird's eye view, or just different camera angles, big props to Paramount and the UFC for doing that. That is huge. That is awesome. That makes me very, very excited. I can't wait to... I don't know what it looks like, though. If they're scamming me, I'm going to be livid, okay? Very interested to see what this looks like. And also, I want to say, good job, Paramount and UFC. This whole UFC section on the website app, however you're viewing it, is phenomenal, okay? I like how they organized it. They have, like, they have so much of the library on it. I don't think all of it, but I wanted to touch on that and give props where props is due. Give credit where it is deserved, okay? I'm liking this a lot. Maybe some of the, like, Paramount, CBS commentators, personalities that they use on here to do mini shows, maybe we actually get something decent out of that. More content about our favorite sport, MMA, UFC, the biggest promotion on the planet. So, this is good. I like this. I like the framing of it. I like the organization. I love how big the library is on here. The ESPN Plus, trying to watch past fights on there, not knowing if it was on Fight Pass or on ESPN Plus, and then you can't even find half the fights that aired on ESPN Plus on any of the platforms to rewatch fights. That was ridiculous and angered me to my very core. So I'm liking this, giving props where it's due. Let's move on to the White House. Okay, I just wanted to use this for an example. This is what people think we're getting at the UFC White House. Trump even said, 5 titles, 5 big fights. Huge black men. No, he didn't say black men. But this is what people think we're getting. I promise you we're not getting this. And I'll tell you why. Okay? Oh, crap. I meant to put that over here. It's already stated, like, no Russians, none of these champions like Islam, Hamzat, Petr Yan, from that area of the world. This is no shade at Russia or anything like that. But they're not going to be there. They're not going to fight on the card. And those are some of the best fighters you have on the roster. Some of the biggest fights you can make is Islam Makhachev versus Ian Gary, Michael Morales. Even though Kamaru Usman doesn't deserve the shot, that's a big fight still. Petr Yan Merab rematch, or possibly they run that. Sugar Sean gets a win. Sugar Sean Petr Yan at the White House, not happening. Hamzat Chimaev at the White House at all. I don't ever think that was a real possibility because he has some connections to a certain, let's say, an extreme leader of his native Chechnya. You know the guys. You know the guy I'm talking about. But these guys aren't going to be on the White House card, okay? I'm telling you right now, the White House card's going to be so... No. They're going to promote it as a gimmick. They're going to air it on CBS. There will be maybe one big title fight, possibly Ilia Topuria against like a Paddy Pimblett or Justin Gaethje, depending on who wins that. That could be your main event. John Jones, Alex Pereira, a fight they shouldn't even make in general, possibly could be on there, but it probably won't even be. Even though it's a big fight, because they can't trust John Jones, because he's a wife-beating drug user, okay? So you can't even do that. What's UFC White House going to look like? Sean Strickland already said he doesn't even want to fight there. And there's going to be a lot of people who don't because of this. TKO Group Holdings President and COO Mark Shapiro on the UFC White House event. There will be no ticket sales, okay? Let me ask you this. Anybody that's somewhat into worldview, politics, you could call it, anything like that. Sean Strickland, Brandon Royval, two guys who have already come out and said, I don't want to fight in front of a bunch of rich oligarchs. Okay? Who's going to be there out of these 5,000 people, you ask? Trump's cabinet? Dana White's friends? Who's it going to be? David Ellison? If you know David Ellison, you know David Ellison. Not a lot of people like David Ellison. Okay, his son bought CBS and Paramount. That's how this deal came about. Is anybody going to want to fight in front of the top percentile of the richest people? The people who are involved with the World Economic Forum? If you know anything about anything, you know what I'm talking about. Are you going to want to fight? Like someone said it, like Hunger Games? In front of all these, does that get you juiced? And especially in the political landscape of America right now, all these rich technocrats, people of institutions, the financial world, those, like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, I'm not even going to say what I want to say about Peter Thiel, but are these guys going to want, and a lot of people don't realize, UFC fighters and a lot of guys on the roster, say what you want about him, but they're in tune with something, okay? And they're smarter than you think. And I don't think a lot of them are going to want to be entertainment for these type of people. They're hors d'oeuvres type of people. They don't call it appetizers. They call them hors d'oeuvres. Okay? Not a lot of people are going to want to do that. If it's fighting in front of the White House and we're selling tickets to people, anybody can be there that will buy the ticket, that's completely different. But this idiot, this rich, no telling I don't even want to go the rabbit hole of what possibly this guy could be tied to. There will be no ticket sales. But you can go sit over here and watch it on a screen away from us because you're less, and we're these rich people who run the country and are in Trump's ear, are president of this beautiful country. We'll sit there and watch it. They don't even care. They have no interest in the sport. It's feast or famine for these guys, okay? I think that's absolutely pathetic, and I despise it. So hot take, UFC White House card will be an utter failure. It won't be a good card because they won't have the guys to do it, and they're thinking they're going to have all these great fighters that are going to fight on that UFC White House card, and that's why they're not booking them right now. I guarantee it'll be nowhere near as stacked as what they think it will, unless they pay up more, in which that's a good possibility. But I don't think it's going to be this mega UFC event like people are saying. Like, it'll be a cool event, UFC, for the fans, the people who actually care, the people who love the sport, people who live and breathe it and can't wait for Saturday night UFC. You're going to be disappointed. Me and you will be disappointed, okay? Last thing, Jorge Masvidal has come out we've heard rumblings of this on Ariel Helwani's show, talking about Conor McGregor White House fight, and they're moving in the right direction. Now, if Conor does fight on the White House, I think this is positive. Get out of the negativity. I like this. I like the fight. Both guys have been out of the game for a while. Jorge retired. We kind of always knew this was happening, and he loves Trump. Wants to come fight at the White House. Loves America. He's a patriot. I'll give him that. I like Jorge. He's a cool guy. I like that fight. That's an interesting fight. They'll stand up and fight. I like that. If they're going to book Conor on that card, no matter where they place him, he shouldn't be the main event, by the way. I like that fight. It's better than the Chandler fight. Chandler doesn't deserve it at this point. And what options do you have? Nate Diaz trilogy? Nate is old. I don't know if I even would care to see him in the UFC again all that much. Jorge, though, I'd have more confidence he'd come out there prepared, in shape, ready to go. Him and Conor scrapping it out in front of the White House. I like that. So, I wanted to end on a positive note, okay? I think that's cool. If we're going to do Conor at the White House, if he's going to make a big old comeback, him and Jorge, which I in my head, I never really talked about this out loud, at least on here. I think that's a good idea. I was thinking that was a good idea. I was telling everyone who would listen, which is nobody. I was telling myself. Nevertheless, though, guys, this was super fun. Glad to be back making videos again. I know I don't have a following or anything, so I don't know why I'm like apologizing. I'm really just apologizing to myself because there's a bit of laziness too for the reasons I didn't post or anything. But let me know what y'all think about this video, my opinions on the UFC moving forward in 2026 along with Paramount, and my take, and probably a hot take, that the UFC White House will be a failure. And the true MMA fans, even some casuals, I think will be highly disappointed with what we end up getting there. So let me know what you think, guys. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel. I will be uploading multiple videos this week, including a picks and prediction video for this weekend's card, UFC 324. Can't wait for it. Glad the UFC's back. Glad to be back making videos. Again, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about my takes in the comments below. And as always, guys,